doing here? Okay. Let's get started. So first of all, thank you all so much for attending. I'm just blown away by the response to this very soft announcement that I made for this program. This program has been a long time coming, but has just been prompted recently by some dear people that I met in the Israeli community, where I just recently visited to attend some psychedelic events where I presented there. I was really lucky to meet a lot of cool people there, and they asked me, when are you starting your training program? And I said, well, I don't know, but let me think about it. And things just kind of move forward really quickly. So it feels right. And first and foremost, I just want to acknowledge also that it's January, the 20th of January, 2020. So it's this day is in perfect symmetry, 1/20/2020. And I'm a sucker for symmetry personally. And it's also Martin Luther King Day. So definitely a day that commemorates higher visions and grand visions and dreams. So I really want to invite everyone that's on the call to think big, to see higher visions for yourselves and for the collective, for humanity, for our planet. Because psychedelic integration is not just about individual transformation, it's definitely about collective transformation and evolution. And just take a moment to set your intentions for this call. Really the idea behind my favorite psychedelic tool is to set intentions before psychedelic journeying as a way of focusing the energy and harnessing on what it is that we are hoping to achieve through psychedelic work. Definitely not expecting to achieve anything, but intending. And that way also stepping into a higher power with our manifesting abilities. So take a moment to set your intention for the call. It can be 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, and take a deep breath and inhale that in. And just be in it for a minute, see what it feels like. Some of you know me, and I'm so grateful to have you on the call. Some of you don't necessarily, we don't know each other personally. My name is Cherie Malcolm Gadassi. You can definitely read tons of information about me on my website, psychedelicintegrationcoach.com. My bio and my credentials are all listed there. I may talk a little bit more about my background, maybe a little bit later in the call. But let's move forward with talking about the program, because I feel like that's what everyone here is for. But I will say that I've definitely been focused on solely on psychedelic integration in the last 4 or 5 years, where I've been an activist in the Los Angeles community. My name is fairly recognized. I've been in the top 5 and top 2 on Google for a few years now. When you Google psychedelic integration, which is really interesting. I have no idea how that happened, but it's a fact. And then a lot of people reach me through my website, and the number 1 question basically that I've gotten over the years through emails has always been, where can I learn to do what you do? How can I become an integration expert? Where did you learn to do what you're doing? Basically, where did you gather this profession and become credentialed to do what you do? And where can I learn to be a psychedelic integration person? And I don't just mean how can I, like the standard go-to description of what psychedelic integration is, which is, I feel like most of us can already kind of repeat it on autopilot, which is translate the psychedelic insights into daily life, right? But really, what does it look like from moment to moment? What's the practice of it? And also what is possible over time? So it's less theoretical and really more, we really want to know what to do with it. How do we actually practice it? So my answer to these people, has always been, well, to learn how to become a psychedelic integration person and really offer it in a way that's of high integrity, is that you have to experience it for yourself. Like, to really get the process, the never-ending process of psychedelic integration, you need to experience it for yourself consciously and mindfully and in an engaging manner, not in a passive way, but really be in it and be in dialogue with it and have a conversation with it for the long term. So that's my answer to them. And I want to, you guys have the chat box, okay? I want to like just do a little quick by show of finger chats, okay? How many of you have tried psychedelic substances ever? Had psychedelic experiences ever in your life? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's quite a lot of people. Awesome. Okay, so all of you that are, yeah, keep going. I know that's probably most of you. Okay. Oh, and by the way, very important disclaimer. Okay, this webinar and the class, the program, the training program that I'm offering, I have to say it's for educational purposes only. The program nor myself endorse or encourage or anyone to act in any illegal fashions, to use illicit psychedelic substances in any way, shape, or form. We are living still in the age of prohibition, even though it all seems very close and it's all happening. We had this week the announcement that FDA granted the expanded access for MDMA-assisted psychotherapy. Psilocybin is being, plant medicine is being decriminalized. And it all seems like we can really dive into it. But remember that there is still a lot of pretty harsh jurisdiction around this area. So we're just doing this for educational purposes, y'all, okay? So those of you who are experienced, which is, I would say, and myself included, right? So most of the people on the call. So before you tried them, right? Go back to the time before your first experience. Did you ever wonder what it was like? And if so, did you even ask others who were experienced to describe the experience to you? I remember asking my first time, like before my first time, to ask my friend who was a psychedelic connoisseur, but what is it like? Can you please just tell me what it's like so I can make my decision? He's like, I just don't know. You just have to try it yourself and find out. It's just so ineffable, right? And so when you ask those other people, were they able to describe it to you? And more than that, now that you're experienced, and you know what you know, you've seen what you've seen, do you feel like you are able, you yourself, are you able to explain the psychedelic experience to other people who are inexperienced? Take a moment to think about that. And more than that, are you able to even explain it to other people who are experienced? Even if you have a friend that's been there a million times, do you feel like you always have the words to really describe what your experience was like? So it's really something to think about. And, you know, I've been using this amazing analogy lately that it just feels so right. So you wouldn't go to a blind person, right? A person that's hard of seeing, they cannot see. And you wouldn't go to them and ask them to describe the color red or the color purple, or what does a rainbow look like, right? Because they can't, they're not able to do that. So why or how can we trust people? And this, you know, this might kind of be more controversial, but this is my opinion. I don't feel like I can go to a person as a psychedelic person, right? I don't feel like I can go to a person who hasn't tried psychedelics or is not experienced with a psychedelic experience and go to them and seek support, because they just don't know what it is, what it's like. And they definitely don't know the potential and the possibilities of it. Certainly there is usually a lot of stigma and misconceptions about it. That's a whole other issue, but they just don't know because they're not experienced. And I want to ask also, like, why is it that, you know, psychedelic integration has been like a super trendy new kid on the block in the last year? People that are really excited about the psychedelic renaissance and they want to be a part of it and they want to serve, they want to be of higher service. It almost seems like integration is like the gateway into, okay, like, I don't know where to train to do anything because no training options are really available in the psychedelic field. I mean, there are some, but they're so limited. There's maybe 2 or 3 other programs that trained for any type of psychedelic support, like official programs. So I don't know where to train, but integration seems like a kind of like a cool concept. And because there isn't really any, there's like no ethical board or like standard that you have to adhere to, then let me just start offering psychedelic integration services to people. And I want to ask, how is it that we have the audacity, right? Knowing that we cannot explain, okay? Again, talking about explaining, describing, articulating the psychedelic experience to others. And how is it that we have the audacity to think that we can guide a person that has just experienced a really transformational, I don't know, NMDMT experience, ayahuasca journey. They went to Peru and they had an ayahuasca ceremony for a weekend, for a retreat. They came back and their eyes are like stars. They're just filled with the infinite potential and possibilities of what their future could look like, of who they are. Or at the same time, they're really dealing with a lot of some intense feelings like grief, and maybe they've met their trauma. Maybe they've seen some repressed memories, a lot of shadow, and they really don't know how to handle it. How is it that we feel that we can guide a person through such a deeply intimate, psychological, multidimensional, and really undermining experience like psychedelic integration? And I'm using the word undermining, and even I'm going to use the term disintegration, okay? Because psychedelic integration is a process where you bring things into wholeness. And in order to do that, you first have to take things apart, right? To really look at all the different pieces that you want to realign in a way that is more cohesive and true to your purpose. So there is going to be a period of disintegration. And if we're not aware of that, how can we offer this support to someone who's like, how do we even, again, have the, I'm going to use the word audacity. Like there's almost like a sense of entitlement of people who want to offer psychedelic integration because they feel like, well, again, it just seems like kind of like a cool concept. And it just seems disrespectful to the person who is going through this process, to me. So basically the guiding light of this program, right? And now I'm going to start talking more about the details of what the program looks like, is that we as psychedelic integration providers and as people and participants of the program, we aim to guide people through the integration process from the depth of our own experience. So, we can only serve, the saying that you can only take a person as far as you've gone yourself. The medicine, right? The integration medicine that you pour for your clients will be the medicine that you yourself have drank yourself, because you've tasted it, you know what it's like, and that's what you're going to serve. That is the voice and the flavor and the level of healing that you will pour and serve to your clients who come to you for integration services. So only from our own experience, we can really show up, not just with a required expertise to hold that level of safety during like a very, again, transpersonal process, which is not a joke. For those of you with shamanic experience, you would probably know what I mean. And, but also we want to really approach it with a really high level of integrity, right? Integrity, clarity, when we offer ourselves to serve others. So there is the safety, integrity, and virtue when we approach this program, and those are the three main things that I based the program on. And basically, I'm looking at it like a shamanic initiation, or get this, integration initiation. Okay, integration initiation. You got to walk the healing path yourself first, so you can support and guide others through similar paths later. So this is your integration initiation if you're feeling called to it. The program itself is, first of all, it's theoretical. There's a lot of theory, online didactic study that you learn and study on your own. It's also, it also combines practical tools, interventions, strategies, techniques that you can use in your process. And I'm specifically talking about an inner process because that's what we go through in the program. You literally go through an integration process yourself, which you experience. So all these tools that you're going to gather in the program, you use for yourself, as well as you're going to practice every day during the program and with your clients and for the rest of your life, pretty much. And so that's an experiential framework and an experiential study. You really what happens with this program that's what I love about it the most. Again, I've taken a lot of time to really put this program together, I feel, because it's been really important to me to gain clarity on all ends. Again, the shamanic journey is a multi-dimensional journey, and I'm not the type of person who like sits at a webinar. Basically, you know how some people sit like they just wear a shirt and tie, but they don't wear pants underneath. Like if they get up, you'll just see their underwear. So I'm actually not like that. I like to be very like through and through and like really look at things in a lot of detail, even when no one is looking, and make sure that it's to a high standard. So it was really important for me during the putting together the program that you're not just acquiring information to get this certificate. And by the way, the certificate is Psychedelic Education and Integration Guide, okay? 3-level program. You're not acquiring just mental information. You live through it. You earn it, basically. You earn this certificate. You become it. You become the living proof to what psychedelic integration can do in all of its potential. So that's kind of like the background on the program. And now I'm going to take a break for a moment and look at the questions, if there are any. If there are any questions, I'll answer them now. Okay. Okay, no questions in the meantime. And thank you for your comments. All right. People raising hands, what does that mean? Does that mean that you want to ask a question live? Yes? Let's see, who raised their hand? Anyone raise their hands? No? Okay. Okay, so should we keep going with details of the program? So far, so good, everyone? Yes, okay, thank you very much. Okay, thanks for those who are responding. Okay, so here's the breakdown, okay? So first and foremost, it's an 8-month journey. Again, everything is very intentional. The number 8 is, again, the symbol of infinity. Obviously, it's very round, much like the integration process. It's never ending. It's ongoing. It's continuous. It has a beautiful flow to it. So 8 months seem to be appropriate. It's a 3-level program, which basically, when you start it and you finish it, you finish all the 3 levels. The first level is psychedelic education. The second level is the integration initiation. And the third level is the guiding. And it's a hybrid of self-study that you do at home and inner work that you do at home and a group dynamic. So in that way, we're really tapping into the individual consciousness that we all bring, and also the collective group consciousness that is so important in psychedelic work in general, and in energy work, and also from the Jungian perspective. So I've been trained, some of my training also includes Jungian analysis. Carl Jung, if you guys know who that is, which I'm sure a lot of you do, the Swiss psychiatrist who basically wrote the theory of consciousness, which in my opinion, and in the opinion of many esteemed researchers like Stan Grof, for example, who wrote in his Way of the Psychonaut recently, that Jungian theory is single-handedly the most accurate framework for psychedelic study and psychedelic integration. So I'm trained in Jungian analysis, and all of my entire program, which by the way, it's all original content, which I've built through my private coaching practice, integration coaching practice, and community work that I've done over the last few years. And it's all material that basically over time I put together for my clients, for my community, my integration circles, and the classes I teach. And basically I've taken like a big chunk of it, not everything I know, but a big chunk of everything I know, and packaged it into this certificate program. So so everything is basically through a Jungian psychology lens, a depth psychology. So we will talk a lot about the importance of the individual and collective consciousness. And there's a really neat framework that we as participants and your clients, right? Because basically you're becoming the client right now, but you're becoming the client to become the professional in 8 months. So you really get a really neat structure to help you understand this crazy world of psychedelic work. Not that it's crazy at all, right? It's not complex at all. No. The program is entirely online currently. We meet in a small group of only 8 participants. I'm only accepting 8 participants to the program. I have an Israeli group already set up, and now I'm calling in my American community because I know that a lot of us are connected. And again, you guys have been asking, so I do want to open up the gate to a beautiful US group, or wherever you are in the world, as long as you're English speaking. You can join the program from anywhere in the world. And what else? So basically it includes also the curriculum. Let's talk about the curriculum. Okay, so 8 months. And the curriculum is super structured. So 8 months, and basically we divide it into, again, the 3 levels that I talked about: education, integration, initiation, and the guiding. So the first level is the first 2 months, and it's going to be basically you get I'm going to put this in the chat box. You receive access to my online course, which is called, where is it? Sorry, let me pull it up. Here it is. I'm just going to copy paste it. If you guys haven't seen my online course, why is this wait, did you all receive this? No, to everyone in the meeting. Okay. Okay. If you guys want to have a look, you're welcome to do that. Basically, it's an online course that I put together with 4 modules detailing through 30 videos. Okay, there's 30 videos in that course, and all of my resources, and 30 PowerPoint presentations and homework assignments based on 4 different lessons. The first one is psychedelic safety. The second is ceremonial preparation. The third one is navigation skills, psychedelic navigation skills. And the fourth one is psychedelic integration. So those 4 modules are in this online program, which basically we start off the course with we meet every other week, okay? We meet every other week through our online platform, which is Zoom, which is where we're at right now, except we'll be only 8 people and with our cameras on, and we will have a live coaching conversation, like group therapy style. But again, it's not therapy because I'm not a licensed therapist. First of all, I do have a master's in psychology with a concentration in psychedelic integration therapy, but I am not a licensed therapist. So it is not a therapy group. It's definitely therapy. It has a therapeutic element to it and a healing element to it, but it's not a therapy group. So we start off the first 2 months bi-weekly meetings. And by the way, all meetings are 90 minutes long throughout the entirety of the program. And basically we go through the modules together. You at your own time go through all the modules, you complete that program, and then you complete level 1 psychedelic education. And that's the first 2 months, okay? And then we move on into the integration initiation. So basically now we're getting into the private. So basically, as mentioned, I have my integration practice, right? And the way that I work with my clients, my ongoing long-term clients, is through this framework that I'm just about to describe. In my coaching practice, I call this the psychedelic alchemy journey. For us, we'll just call it currently the integration initiation, because that's what it is. And basically, I go with my client, we go through everything that I do with my clients, with the first month out of the 4, we focus on preparation for psychedelic therapy and the healing journey. The 4th month is psychedelic integration from theory to practice. And I'm going to detail all these in just a second. And then the 3rd month is psychedelic disintegration and healing. And then the 4th month is psychedelic integration and life redesign. So basically we go from, basically what happens is, right, and this is, I'm going to be just upfront. A lot of people, obviously, okay, because we're at the age of prohibition, and a lot of these psychedelics are not legal, right? So let's just remember that. Yet, okay, the whole reason I created, Psychedelia in Los Angeles, we have this really beautiful and massive integration community. I think at this point it's one of the largest in the world in Los Angeles. And the reason that I created this organization is not just to, first of all, acknowledge that people are using psychedelics. Okay. Here's the issue with, without getting too political, but there is this demographic of people who use psychedelic substances, and the government completely, unlike the, people who use maybe hard drugs and other Schedule I substances like heroin and cocaine, and they have, a lot of, they have certain healthcare system structures to help and assist these people recover from their addictions. Psychedelic users, do not have any type of acknowledgement or support from the government, pretending like we don't exist, basically. So the whole idea of harm reduction, which is what my program and my practice are based on, is really to acknowledge that, yeah, people do use psychedelics. And a lot of people that come to me for help or for support, professional support, they, first of all, they're nervous, right? Understandably so. But they say, hey, I know that, I want to gather information because I'm planning on doing it, basically. I'm planning on doing it, and I want to make sure that I do it right, in a way that's right for them, that I do it safe, that I approach this and with some type of knowledge, so I'm able to make better decisions for myself. So the program basically, again, we're not using psychedelics here. Obviously, we're not encouraging any psychedelic use, but it definitely is designed, if you look again at the headers, which is you preparing them for the psychedelic therapy and the healing journey, you're acknowledging that they're going to do it. And you're just giving them, again, the educational support, the information, and that they need to, again, to help stay safe. And if they're going to do it, to also do it in a way that will be potentially benefiting for them, because that's why people use psychedelics. They want to tap into all the incredible potential benefits that they offer. So going back, there is preparation for the therapy and healing journey. So basically, every month like that, we have 4 meetings. Okay, so it's over 4 weeks, and we go through different topics. Again, and this is exactly the curriculum that I teach my clients, give or take, depending on where they're at in the journey, right? I always customize it to my client, but this is what it looks like. The first week, we go over getting to know who your client is. We do a safety assessment. There is a very thorough safety chapter, again, in the educational module. So we go through what offering a safety assessment to the client looks like. We go through personal history, we go through family dynamics, we go through trauma, if there is any that they're aware of. We go through preparing for the long-term healing journey. We work on goal setting. We do what I call psychedelic road mapping, which is basically custom building or custom tailoring a healing map or a road, right? A path for the individual, for the client, depending on what they're looking for, what they're hoping to resolve on their current state of experience, on their current life situation. So basically, you help them make a better decision on which psychedelic to go to. right? Some people really want to try ayahuasca for their first psychedelic ever, and it's not necessarily the right plant medicine to approach if you never experienced psychedelics. Not for everyone. We talk about consciousness theory and the Jungian theory and the archetypes, and then we also have a week where we really talk about preparing for the actual psychedelic journey. We teach the navigation skill set, we work on building intentions, and so forth. Now, each and every single one of these topics that I mentioned, okay, and this is, by the way, just the first month of the integration initiation, we have, or you will have, the program participants will have, when you join the program, we will have a private Google library where every week I upload a worksheet that I prepared, or it could be multiple worksheets, but a worksheet that I prepared for basically for my clients, okay, that have an article that I wrote about the specific topic. So for example, if we have a topic of goal setting, right? If we have a session that we do for goal setting because we're setting goals of how to move forward in the coaching or in the guiding journey, there is a full article about goal setting. There are assignments, there are journaling questions, there is a challenge, and there are also additional resources for further learning like books, articles, podcasts, etc. So for each topic, for every week that we have, basically every session that we have as a group, the group can access this worksheet, and that's basically the work that you do at home, and it's your way to start building your worksheet library for your clients. So basically, you will have, as a participant of the program, you will have my permission to take these worksheets that you gain in the program and repurpose them towards your clients in your private integration practice. So I feel like this is a really neat feature of the program. So again, all these topics, again, every week we talk about a different topic, whatever is emerging, of course, right? This is not a very rigid, I mean, the outline is pretty standard, I would say, just from like my experience with people seeing what they bring to the table. But, you know, if we see that the group kind of goes into a different path and brings up another topic, then we will probably go that way. And also if I see that it's a topic that I don't have any worksheets on, which may happen, then I basically write a new worksheet for the group and upload it. So that was just the third month, basically. And then month 4, which is we start doing from theory to practice. We talk about immediate integration strategies and techniques. We talk about creating a daily practice and the art of self-care and journey themes and active imagination and dream work and individuation and differentiation and family systems and self-ownership. Again, these are some possible topics. The 5th month, one of my favorites, usually by this stage, if the client has undergone their psychedelic journey, at least one of them, they typically enter a state of disintegration, what I like to call disintegration. I feel like I need to coin that term because it's so accurate. There's usually a period where everything starts falling apart. We talk about the identity shifts and the ego death and what it looks like, right, in the client's life and in our lives. When we start changing, what is it? Typically, the first thing that gets affected is relationships, and that's a tough one. Our relationships start changing. People don't recognize you anymore. You're not recognizing yourself anymore. You don't know who you are. So we talk about relationships, about attachment styles and childhood developmental trauma. Usually addictions come up at this point. Boundaries, which are lacking for a lot of people who just enter psychedelic therapy. The mind-body connection and awareness, somatic processing, stuff like that. So that's in the 5th month. It gets real and it gets deep. My favorite. And then month 6, which is the final month of the initiation, okay? We move from the shadow into the light. This is where we start I call this the life redesign stage. So we start redesigning our lives, learning how to make new choices, becoming more empowered, reframing our stories, our mental training, recreating a new us, and envisioning our new lifestyle, learning how to play, life mastery, and basically acquiring and mastering conscious change. So that's the end of level 2. Okay. And again, throughout the integration initiation, the calls, by the way, they move to weekly calls. So the first 2 months, it's bi-weekly. Then the 4 months, you get like massive, super tight held container of support. We meet weekly, so once a week. The total meetings that we have, 90-minute meetings, are I think 25 meetings. It's quite a few hours of coaching. So yeah, so you get that. And of course, as mentioned, you get the Google folder with all the materials for you to keep and to work from, and to deepen your practice at home. And of course, again, to build your professional practice on later. So that's a super amazing perk. Before we get into the guiding module, any questions? Any questions at all? So let's see. Someone asked if the group dynamic happens online at scheduled times. Yes. So yeah. So the group dynamic happens online on Wednesday evenings at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time and 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And again, they're 90 minutes. So 5:30 to 7 Pacific time on Wednesdays. How long have I been at this? About 5 years, I would say. I'll talk about myself a little bit more later. Started by saying we have to walk the path first. So really the course is creating a new us so we can guide others to do the same. Is this a program? Okay, someone asked, is this a program that can be undertaken while someone works full time? Absolutely. So yeah, when you think about it, first of all, again, the calls, depending on the month and the module, they're 90 minutes a week, right? And then of course there's the time that you want to allot for watching the videos and studying. I would say definitely, including the calls, definitely plan for an average of 3 hours a week. Of course, the deeper you want to go, this is all a decision that you all have to make for yourself. How much do you want to invest in yourself to get the most out of this program? And I really want to work and pick 8 people that are super committed to this. Okay, not to say that of course you should work and support yourself and have the full-time job, but also if you have a lot of distractions going on in your life, if there's some type of like a massive life change or a crisis of some type, or you really just don't feel like you have a lot of time, then maybe you can consider maybe joining another cohort that opens at another time. But I really hope to train and mentor people who really want to make the most out of their time and out of this program and to go deep. Again, I'm a depth psychology oriented person. That's what I love. And I really wish to work with people who have the same passion. So I would say, again, a minimum of 3 hours a week. If you want to invest more by looking at all the resources, you're absolutely welcome to. How are you choosing the participants? Well, first we'll see who signs up today, right? And then what happens next is after you sign up today, and there's a special price for those people who know that they want to join, and there's a discounted price. Then after that, what happens is I'll send over registration forms, and all of the curriculum, everything will be listed, of course, all the different payment options and all that. And then part of the program is also like a perk that you get today also is that every participant, we have a one-on-one private session as well in the first 2 weeks of February sometime. We set a time to talk together so I can get to know you better, so I can see what you're working with and help you kind of custom tailor the program for yourself so you can, again, make the most out of it. Someone asked about the price. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. How much business is available for us? That is such an amazing question. I will say this. When I started 5 years ago, psychedelic integration wasn't even a word. I mean, at least not one that is thrown around and as easily as it is now. Now with all the different changes that are happening, and as we see around us, as mentioned, FDA just this week granted the expanded access, the decree movement that's happening. Things are moving very rapidly, and people, again, don't have any or very many training opportunities to support all these people that are coming through. I know very well one of the training programs that I did, which is Being True to You, which I know that some of you have taken it. I love that program. I highly recommend it. It's basically, it trains you to be an addiction recovery and integration coach. And I know that a lot of people that finished that program, myself included, at the time when I finished the program, I started basically working with them and getting clients from them. And, you know, you start small, you definitely need time to build your practice. But I mean, here I am 5 years later, I've built my practice. I've built 2 integration communities in Los Angeles. I built this amazing online program. I'm also writing a book right now that's about to come out this year, and I'm fully invested in this. So I feel like it's the reality that you wish to create. If you want to do this full time, you will do this full time. For me, I just knew that this is what I felt, such a strong call and pull for this to be my path of service. Sometimes even like in hindsight, like I just can't even. It's so interesting how things kind of like roll to you. And, you know, obviously I was also a lot younger in my consciousness awareness back then, and made a lot of mistakes in the way, a lot of them publicly, as well as some of you that know me very well and have seen me in my lowest of the low. There's a lot of learning that happens in this path. But I do feel that people who start approaching this work now will have a lot more opportunities than I did, for example, just because the times are changing so rapidly. So it's what you make of it, okay? Total costing, and I'm going to talk about this in just a minute. This certification is not recognized by MAPS because I'm not related to MAPS. I did study with them and did their training, part of their MDMA-assisted psychotherapy training for a little bit, but I'm not associated with them. I know that they do work with CIIS. CIIS, first of all, the certification, as far as I know, they're only allowing mental health people and nurses and clergy people, clinicians, and it's more research based. And I did look at their website recently, and from what I understand, it's a training program that's meant to prepare people to undergo the MAPS training program if they want to be MDMA assisted therapists. So that's a main difference. And another difference is that what we're talking about here is psychedelic integration, which no other, to my knowledge, no other program, even though they might, you know, talk about it here and there, but they're definitely not focused on integration. So here we're talking about integration. Someone asked if this covers all medicines, Aya mushrooms. This program does not include, as mentioned in the beginning of the talk, does not include any psychedelic substances and does not encourage it. We don't do anything like that together. You are not allowed as a participant to join the calls if you are choosing to partake with psychedelics. That's something that if you choose to do, you can do in private, but we're not doing it as part of the group or of the curriculum. I do talk about in the program of when, again, from the harm reduction approach of recognizing that obviously a lot of people will come to us as clients because they want to use them. So I do have parts in the program where I will basically announce that, okay, if your client is planning on utilizing psychedelics during the time that you worked together, this would be a good time for them to do it in the way that it fits in the trajectory and the journey of their healing. So there will be times, there are times in the program where it seems more appropriate if, again, the client is going to use them, making their own choice, okay? So that's in there. Okay. Option to attend missed classes. Yeah, thank you for asking that. So first of all, all the classes will be recorded. If you have to miss classes, then you will have the option to, basically we'll have our Teachable platform that's going to be just for the group. And I'm going to the Teachable, I'm going to add, every week I'm going to add a recording of all the calls. It is expected that you attend the calls because, again, it's a certification program. I do want to make sure that you take an active part in the process. Participants will be allowed to miss 3 calls throughout the program, and they have to you have to attend the other ones, okay? But if you do miss them, you will have the recording available. Oh, the portion of the course, the business of psychedelic integration. You know, I've thought about that, not in this current group. I may add that. We may talk about it a little bit in the calls if it feels appropriate towards the end. And I may just decide to add it as another level at the end of the program. I'm not sure yet. I do feel that it's necessary, and it could be, I can see how helpful it would be for people to discuss that. But at least for the current 3 levels, it is not an official part of the program. Okay, another question. Would this be training us to help people integrate after they've had or guide them through the experience? Well, let's talk about the guiding module now. Any other questions? No. Okay, so let's move forward. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for asking all these great questions. Okay. And you know what? How about before I talk about the 3rd module, which is guiding, okay? Excuse me. I'm going to just jump over to the price, okay? And that way you can have something to mull over as we finish talking about the curriculum. So far, just to kind of do a recap, we talked about the first 6 months of the program. We talked about the first 2 months, which are education, psychedelic education. We talked about the next 4 months, which is the integration initiation. And now what's left is month 7 and 8, which is the maintenance and psychedelic guiding. And I'm going to talk about in just a minute. Okay, so let's see. So, okay, so the 3-level program is mentioned. Basically, right now, what I'm offering in my practice, as mentioned, I have the online course, which basically is level 1, and the online course for people who work with me privately is $12.50. That's the price of the current online course that I offer, which is the first 2 months of your program. And then the 2nd level, which is the integration initiation, which again, it's also called Psychedelic Alchemy, where in the Psychedelic Alchemy, it's not 90 minutes. I do hourly meetings, one-on-one, but it's the same program. And basically, again, I custom tailor with worksheets and help the client go through their integration journey. And so that's level 2. And the cost of that is $7,200 for what I offer for my one-on-one clients. And then the 3rd level of guiding, I'm not offering it individually yet. I will sometime in the near future, probably. I'm offering it first to the group only, and that's going to be valued, or it is valued at around $2,000. That's what it's going to be priced. So the individual cost of all the components of the 3 levels is about $10,500. And then if you sign up to this group program, because it's a group and because I want to start I'm being more called to really work with groups to be able to empower more people and obviously have a greater impact, which again we need because of everything that's going on right now in the world and in the psychedelic renaissance. So when you sign up to this group program, the cost of this group program, okay, before the price of the call, the price of the group program is $55.88, so $5,588. And if you divide that into monthly payments, the investment is $698 a month, or again, $55.88 for 8 months. And we have different payment options and also a payment plan available. And also there's a special price for the first cohort that signs up now, which means people that are on the webinar, they're getting the option for this new price. Again, this is my first cohort. I'm building, I'm going to build upon this cohort, and please God, help this information get transmuted to more people more rapidly, and we can accelerate the healing consciousness in the world. So the special price for the people who sign up now, basically through the webinar, you get $700 off. So you get basically you get a month off, and the price drops down to $488.8. So $4,888, which comes down to $611 a month. And I also have additional scholarships for people of color or of indigenous culture. You get another $500 off the special price too. So that's the price. So $611 a month. And I don't know if any of you are committed to going to like therapy. If you go like on a weekly basis, right? I mean, I go to therapy and I know how much I pay, and basically like $600 a month is the absolute lowest pay that you pay a month for a therapist. So those of you who know that like do any type of healing work, then you know that that's basically the price. So you get a therapeutic process, a coaching journey, a professional training program, the theory, the practice, the experiential, all of my resources, and this amazing group for $611 a month. So that's the price. And if anyone wants to sign up, please let me know either privately in the chat box. I know it is interesting numbers, and I'm telling you, I have a romance with the number 8 this year. So again, for people who are asking me if medicines or psychedelics come in with this program, as mentioned, we do not do psychedelics in this program. I do not offer them. I do not encourage them. You're not allowed to do them in the group. If you want to do this on your own, individually, away from the group, in your own time, you're an adult, you can choose to do whatever you want, but I'm not supplying any illegal, illicit substances or anything like that, okay? Someone asked me, okay, did you say $1,250 for the first 2 months only of the 8? Well, there is, again, the online program, the course, right? The level 1 is offered online individually. Like if you want to do just the level 1 psychedelic education, you can sign up to that individually with a link I provided earlier, and that's $1,250. Okay, and you can definitely do that. Wow, thanks for everyone who just told me you want, okay, hold on, a lot of questions. So first and foremost, I'm going to acknowledge those of you who already said that they want to join. Okay, first of all, thank you so much. I am honored to welcome you into the program. Here's what you would need to do if you want to join, okay? I'm going to, basically what you need to do is to make your first payment of registration right now during this webinar to secure this price, okay, of $4,888. And if you want to do that, if you're feeling like this is the path for you, this is the call, this feels right, this feels like a fruitful relationship that you, again, just a journey that you feel like you're ready for. And again, I want to say again, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for everyone, but if it's for you, then you know it's for you. Then you're welcome to basically what you do. I'm going to type it in the box right now. Psychedelic Integration Coach on Venmo. And basically you make your first payment. That's to secure your spot. And then we can talk about other payments later. But it's 1222 for your first payment. Okay. And you can do that right now. And then I'll obviously after the call, I'll do a check-in with you. I'll send you an invoice. I'll send you all the registration packet, and then we can line you up for our first private session together. Okay. So anyone who just messaged me that they want to join, you're welcome to do that. Go to Venmo and register and put in the first payment. Okay. And now I'm going to answer other questions. Okay. So, okay. Thank you for those who want to join. I'm super excited to walk this path with you. If you already paid for the Teachable course, thank you so much, Mark. Thanks. This is an amazing question. I was going to address this actually. So basically, if you already did the first level, what will happen is you're going to get that full amount that you paid, okay, deducted from the regular program price. So the regular program price is again $5588. So take that number and subtract what you paid. I know that some of you paid the full price and some of you paid, you had a scholarship price. You subtract that and that's going to be your price. So basically you get your money back and you get it. It counts towards your 3 level. Let's see. Signed up at $12.50 before you went through the pricing, but you want, okay, no problem. If you want it all, okay, no problem, no problem. Those who are messaging me privately. Okay, someone asked, do we learn about medicines? You absolutely do learn about medicines. In the entire educational module, the first 2 months, you learn all about psychedelic substances. You learn about the psychedelic experience. As I don't know if the person that asked me this, is it Reagan? I don't know if you joined maybe in the middle of the call, and I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't clear, so let me just reiterate. You can, again, we, as part of the program, because we live in really interesting and still kind of dangerous times, we have to be mindful. Again, I cannot, as a professional, risk myself, put you at risk, and do anything that's illegal, right? So we all agree with that. And I cannot encourage you to do anything illegal or illicit. Again, we have to exercise. Bless you, whoever sneezed. Please put yourself on mute. So as mentioned, clients who come to me in my private practice, again, we're not going to be coy here. A lot of them do use psychedelic substances or have tried them or are planning to do them. You know, maybe they want to go to Peru where it's legal. Maybe they want to go to Costa Rica where it's legal. There are still options of experimenting with these substances, and basically I advise them, as I will in the program itself, of when would be during the program, when would be that optimal time that will enable the client, and in this group obviously it's going to be you, okay? When will be the optimal time to do it with the least risk and with the most benefit. And basically, there is a time frame where if the client, again, I'm talking about the client, if they're going to make that choice and they're going to do it, well, I'm offering again, the harm reduction approach of this is how you can do it, okay? If you're going to do that, here are some protocols that can help you make a decision. So if you choose to use, on your own time, if you feel like you want to go to Mexico and do a mushroom journey, it's totally legal there. You're definitely welcome to do that, but it's not a part of the program, okay? And it's also not a required part of the program, meaning people who sign up, I'm not requiring you to do that. Yeah, so I hope that was clear. Okay, anything else? Okay. All right, so people who message me privately, I'll answer after the webinar is done. Are there any other questions currently about the price? Let me repeat that again. So the numbers right now, if you register during the webinar, they're this is after the discount. Okay, so again, the price for all the different components is 10,500. The group price that we're talking about today, which is the certificate program, is 5588. And with the discount that you get right now, you get 700 off, and it comes down to 4888. And those of you asked if there are payment options. Yes, there are payment. You can do a payment plan for sure. And you can pay through Venmo, you can pay through PayPal, you can pay through credit card, you can do a bank transfer. There are some of the options have a fee to them, and some of the options are completely free and have no fees attached to them. So, and that's again for 8 months. 8 months, and you receive the certificate. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to continue talking now about the guiding module, okay? And I feel like the guiding module is super helpful, and I'll tell you why. Because the program itself, it doesn't officially currently certify you to be an underground psychedelic guide. Okay, again, for obvious reasons that we've mentioned already. But here's where all this information will come in handy. The psychedelic guiding is basically when you learn the elements of psychedelic guiding, you learn how to hold space for the emergence of the psychedelic integration process, right? So a lot of you asked me, or, like through Instagram and earlier, just outside of the webinar, you're like, well, do I need to, I don't have any other training. Do I need to study psychology first? Like, do I have to have some type of knowledge and additional, do you have any other requirements for the program? And basically this element of the guiding is meant to teach you how to hold space for another person in a psychedelic process, which if you look at the word psychedelic, it's psyche and delic. It's mind or soul manifesting, soul revealing. So it is a very, very psychological process. And I teach about psychology through through the Jungian psychology element. A lot of the topics that we talk about are definitely have like psychological elements in them. And this final module, the guiding, here's what we talk about. So basically, I call that the maintenance stage, right? Because we move from, and this is again what I do with my private clients as well, we move from weekly meetings or weekly calls to bi-weekly. So the aim of my program is not to have people remain with me attached indefinitely and work with me indefinitely. But it's more aimed to get to know the client, help them feel safe, and empower them with tools. Again, I'm a coach also, right? So I have the therapeutic background, and I totally aim to go through a therapeutic process of healing, of going through the past, of forgiving, of grieving, going through all the feelings that come with healing. And when it's appropriate, to also put in the proactive action steps to move forward. And that's how you acquire and attain the transformation that you want in your life. And again, you want to help the client not just process, but also help them master new skills, help them attain their visions, train them, and to master their own lives and empower them to find their voice and live their truth. So when we move at this stage, the last 2 months into the maintenance mode, which is again bi-weekly, where we do the check-ins to see how everyone is doing in their integration process. And we start talking about the guiding, and we talk about the guiding through discussing the therapeutic alliance that happens between the psychedelic facilitator and the person who wants to journey. We talk about psychological elements like transference and counter-transference, basically what it means, for example, as a facilitator, when your client is in the psychedelic trip and you're starting to see visions and you're starting to get triggered by them, or even just in your coaching calls or the guiding calls with your clients, right? Like regular sessions, the client can be sitting there and talking about childhood trauma or issues with their mother, you know, and you yourself as a guide, as an integration guide, you're sitting there and you're kind of maybe being triggered yourself. So we talk about noticing those triggers and learning how to work with them in real time so you don't transfer them back onto the client and do more harm to them. Again, these are all therapeutic elements, and I just want to mention again, we're not licensed clinicians here. Maybe some of you are actually, and if you do, that's awesome. Then you obviously have maybe more insight and knowledge about the therapeutic relationship, and you can add to your toolkit, but also what it means in psychedelic space, which basically what happens when you, again, if you go with your client to Mexico and you decide to journey them with mushrooms, or to Jamaica, right? It's legal there. You go to Jamaica with your client, you want to sit for them or guide them through a psychedelic journey. You basically share consciousness during the journey. The client is not necessarily going to know that, but it's your responsibility to know that and be aware of it. So to maintain boundaries and maintain an energetic hygiene. So we talk about those things in the guiding element. We talk about projection. We talk about power dynamics. We talk about the roles and responsibilities of the psychedelic guide / the integration guide. We talk about space holding, the logistics of what it looks like to set up sacred space and different guiding approaches, and also what psychedelic sessions can look like. And very important element is shadow work and interventions during the session. So basically through this final module, you, again, you learn how to guide, right? But really you're learning how to be in a sacred healing relationship with a client. And that's why I call the program, even though one of my trainings is a coach, right? But I specifically did not choose the word coaching certificate. I chose the word guiding because I feel like the word guiding, first of all, is more accurate to Jungian psychology because it's all about guiding through the path, okay? And it's less about being a cheerleader and more about being, I'm gonna walk hand in hand with you on your path, knowing that I myself have been in similar places and I'm just holding the light for you to lead us where you need to go. I'm just there to keep you safe, to keep you informed, to keep you in check, which is super important. And that's really, that's what makes a good guide and a good integration, great integration guide. So that's the guiding module, and that's the third the third module, and that's and then we culminate the program. Any other questions about that? Let's see. How many months do you stay with the clients approximately? Well, as mentioned, I think I mentioned it, sorry. First of all, the group is 8 months. My clients, they sign up to 6-month packages, and then if they want to renew, they renew per 6 months. Calls. Okay, thanks again for asking. So the first level is bi-weekly. So first 2 months is bi-weekly calls. The second level, which is 4 months, is weekly calls. And then the last level, which is 2 months, is bi-weekly calls again. So again, a total of 25 group calls and 1 private session in the beginning. And board certified nurse coach. Rhonda, I'll message you in just a minute. And who is that? Okay. Okay, thank you. For those who want to join, please either email me or message me privately with these questions, especially if you have to get off and you won't read my response. Okay. 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 Yes, it's always on. It's always on Wednesdays. Any other questions, you guys? So that is basically the program. That is the certification program. We start on February 12th. So it's February 12th through September 30th. And the first couple of weeks of February are allotted to personal sessions. So if you sign up right now and you get the special price of 4888, then we can immediately book our first session. And again, you get the entire program as mentioned. You get all the recordings. You get, by the way, lifetime access to the Teachable level 1 program. That's there for life. So you can always keep going into that program and rewatch it again and learn more. I also update the resources periodically. So you have lifetime access, including any type of upgrade that I do to that course over the years. You get access to the school's Google folder with a library of integration specific worksheets. Again, I want to go back to that because I feel like it's such a neat feature. You basically build your professional toolkit. Like almost everything I have been writing, again, not everything, but almost everything, they're going to be available for you to download, and you can just pull out of your folder at any time. Basically, like you can take the program that you're going to undergo if you feel like it's right for you, and use it for your clients. But I do want to emphasize that I feel like because it's an integration initiation, it really leaves space for you to find your own voice and your own power. You know, when I went through this initiation, basically, I would say kind of unconsciously, like the whole way that I got into this, again, when I started this, there weren't really too many options for me. And I was just starting out. I couldn't even myself articulate what integration was. And basically, like I started my shamanic integration initiation, not really in the most positive of ways. I basically, there was a time in my life back then that I did so much medicine work that instead of becoming more integrated, I started to, basically what happens was was starting to split. A lot of the different archetypes of my personality were becoming inflated. My trauma was pouring out of me. I was messing up a lot of close relationships in my life. And I was initiated into this dark night of the soul, where I really had to basically like get away from everything and hunker down and do my integration work and I hired a coach and a Jungian analyst for the long-term Jungian psychologist that I met with weekly. I still do. And to continue to really understanding what integration is. So I feel like this program is an amazing opportunity for those who want to go this initiation, but in a way that, again, is by choice, is conscious. And really through that initiation is how you develop your integration style. What's beautiful about the psychedelic renaissance is there is so much room for different interpretations and for you to find your own niche. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of on the same boat because they don't really know where to begin. And the way to do it is just kind of jump into it, learn as much as you can, train yourself as much as you can. And then from that place, you can find and create your own niche. And who knows, you may or may not call yourself an integration guide afterward. Maybe you will. I definitely call myself, as you all know, psychedelicintegrationcoach.com. Okay. That's definitely like a big part of my identity. But I'm actually now at a stage where I'm kind of moving away from that being my identity, because I do so many other things and I see how actually very limiting it is. So I'm moving away from the psychedelic integration coach title actually. And you get to create the reality and the vision that you want. You get to realize your visions, and how beautiful is that? So so this program is just meant to be a place for you to realize your visions and for you to step into your power as a psychedelic supporter. And whether you decide that this is the right container for you or not, if you're pulled to this or not, whichever path you choose, I really wish for you to make decisions that are supportive of you, of service to others, keeping yourself in the highest vision of yourself as you possibly can. Again, it's Martin Luther King Day. Remember, he had a dream, and a dream that maybe a lot of other people couldn't see at the time. And psychedelic visions are like that. They're glimpses into everything that's possible. We don't necessarily know the way that the little steps that we need to do to attain them. But that's the beauty of integration, is you get to figure it out as you walk that path. So be that light to others. And yeah, that's my wish for you, is that you continue serving others by first serving yourself. So I'm going to check for some more final questions here before we log off. And this is the final chance to ask any questions before we complete the webinar. And yeah, anyone who messaged me privately, I'm going to message you in just a minute. So if you ask me again, all the calls are group meetings on Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. There is one personal session that happens at the time that we set together. Thank you so much. Thank you, Richard. You're the best. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? Okay. Well, those who are still here, I want to invite you to, first of all, I want to thank you. Actually, a lot of you are still here. Thank you so much for joining. Much, much love to you. It's been an honor. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to listen to me and to listen to psychedelic integration, and also for staying until the end of the webinar. And I honor each and every single one of you. Those of you who are committed, I'm excited to start working with you. It's a beautiful journey. And yes, and again, if you message me privately, I'll get right back to you. So thank you. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your day. And please be in touch if you have any further questions. Much, much love to you all. Thanks, guys.